I call to order the Waverly City Council for July 18th, 2016. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as distributed by our city clerk, Carla Geyer?
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Motion second. Council discussion. All in favor signify with yes.
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 Opposed with no. This becomes our agenda for this evening. We welcome Beth Olson as our guest council person for the month of July. You have tonight and next Monday, and we look forward to your contribution. You have full voice, of course, and no vote, but full voice. Maybe, Beth, you could, many of us know you, of course, but a lot of us don't probably. Can you say a little bit about your either family or what you do? You have a job?
Sure. Beth Olson, longtime Waverly resident. I live just down at the end of the block on 1st Street Southeast, so we've watched a lot of changes down in our neck of the woods. Married to Bob Gremmels. I'm a Lutheran pastor, and we have a daughter who's 20 years old. And I live here in Waverly, but I work and serve in Hudson. So thanks for having me tonight, and thank you all for your service as well. Appreciate what you do here very much.
Thanks, Beth. This is the date, time, and place for a public hearing on our 2016 sidewalk repair plans, specs, contracts, and costs. City Clerk, any written comments?
No, sir, Your Honor.
And we'll entertain oral comments from the public at this time. Big audience, but not a lot of comment. Any comment? Hearing none, we will close the hearing. Formal motion would be in order.
Move Resolution 16-57, approving plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimated costs of $90,000 for the citywide sidewalk repairs program 2016 project.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion second. Council discussion. Roll call vote, please.
Resnick.
Yes.
Waldstein.
Yes.
McKenzie.
Yes.
Gade.
Yes.
Scher.
Yes.
Kangas.
Yes.
Resolution 16-57, unanimously approved. This time I'll entertain any comments on any items that the public may have that are not on tonight's agenda. Any comments from the public? Hearing none. We have 5 items on tonight's consent calendar.
Mayor, I'd like to pull one out, please.
Yes.
I'd like to pull out the pay request from WHKS and Company for the 3rd Street Southeast Bridge repair for $32,768.63.
Stands pulled. Is there a motion? No. We will look at the pay request then of Paul Miller Design for the Golf Pond project. We will look at Peterson Contracts for the dry run work and 4th Street reconstruction. We have a request for Feldman Concrete to pay the pedestrian ramp bills, and we have a liquor license request from Walgreens. Is there a motion?
Move approval of the consent calendar.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion seconded. All in favor signify with yes.
Yes.
Opposed with no. We'll look individually at WHKS for the 3rd Street Bridge repair for $32,768. And I will lean to Ms. Wallstein.
Yeah, I just wanted to come back and discuss this again a little bit for more information, hopefully. And if we can't get it now, I hope we can get it later. I just want to review for us for just a minute that the estimates that we have for the repair of the bridge are currently at $2 million, no, more. They were originally at $2,395,000. We had an updated estimate that added on $500,000 more. So we are at a repair estimate there of $2,895,000. We also have, I think, a remote possibility of applying for and getting a historical grant that, from what I have been able to look into, is highly competitive, probably not guaranteed at all, and would maybe max out at about $200,000. So with that, we would be a little bit less than the $2,895,000. We'd be at $2,695,000 in a best case scenario. That repair option with a 20-year lifespan, which I think, we need some numbers to I know that none of them are precise. I know things can change. I know this is an estimate.
Does this have to do with this actual pay request?
It does. Okay. It does. And that comes out to about almost $145,000 a year over those 20 years. We also considered at the time, before the $500,000 increase in the estimate, the construction of a new bridge, which we did not vote for, but because I've asked for this reconsideration before, I just want to remind us of that. That estimate is $2,170,000, and that does include $1 million support from the state, which we've been offered every year for the last many years and have declined, and there's no, because we weren't doing a project.
Right.
And so
I would just ask again, what does this have to do?
Just a minute. I'll run the meeting. Thank you, Wes.
Well,
Go ahead.
you
No,
have to speak to the
I'll
topic
run the
that
meeting,
we're
please.
voting
No,
on.
just please, go ahead.
All right, thank you. I appreciate not being interrupted.
Well, you have to talk to the
Wes,
subject that we're-
just relax. Go
it's
ahead.
rules.
Go
We
ahead,
have rules.
Councilman, go ahead.
I think I'm following the rules. I think you're not, Wes. Anyway,
This has anything to do with this bill.
it does have to do with this. If you would let me finish, or, just
Just go,
listen.
yeah, ignore and go ahead.
Yeah. So that comes out to $29,000 a year over a 75-year lifespan. So the difference between the two, projects is about $725,000. I have had many citizens contact me, both before and after, especially after the $500,000 increase in the estimate, with all but one of them asking me to bring this up, and that's why I am. Why are we doing this? And I'm asking that question too, and that brings me to my point here of pulling this out. I am not in favor of not paying bills that we have, so I will vote to pay for this bill that we have of almost $33,000 now, and the estimate is that we will get up to $200,000 in engineering costs before bids are let. I think that's a lot of money. I think people need to know about that. And I'm summarizing it here so that it's in front of us as we discuss what we do here. I don't plan to vote no on this, to not pay this bill, but I am going to ask the city staff, together with WHKS, as soon as possible, give us some more information now if possible, if not now, then later, as soon as possible, about what other projected increases there might be, what kind of gaps are we finding in the engineering work we're doing, what other things can we expect down the road in this. And in addition, I would like to also ask, and maybe it's a separate thing that we come back to later, but I'm going to ask that we put on a future agenda item, on a future agenda of a meeting, a reconsideration of our decision.
Okay, it's a lot into that, but at this point, I'd like a motion to approve the $32,000 to WHKS.
I move, we approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Council discussion.
Can we get some more information about anything that staff might know now?
So my question is, this is a bill from May 14th, 2016 through June 17th, 2016. So the date today is July 18th, 2016. We approved this. We put them to work. They're spending money, and they're sending in bills. If I was WHKS and they were listening to the meeting tonight and were questioning if we're going to pay them for past work or not, I'd be very concerned about the ethics of the city of Waverly.
I think that she
no.
made it clear that that would not be the case, that she's going to vote to pay past bills.
I'm speaking. So that's my conversation tonight, or that's my input is, the discussion is I don't think we should be questioning bills that have been approved.
Well, they're before us to approve to pay, and so that is an opportunity for discussion. I'm not, and I think you heard what I said, that I'm planning to vote to pay this bill. But I think there are other issues that we need to be discussing in the meantime. And I think they're in this context, and so therefore I brought them up.
So in the same spirit of that, the dry run going on today, maybe we should have a daily accounting of their progress, their billing. How would they deal with that? If we had a daily accounting of their progress, their billing, where they are in the project, minute by minute, we want that update. That's what we're asking for here, and I
I know
think
they
that's
had
my
to do a
command.
lot of rework
Well-
on the dry run after the rain event in
Yeah,
behind my
that's,
house.
yeah. And that's my discussion. Not
It's
argument
not
either
the
way, that's
point
my
at hand,
discussion.
unfortunately.
Well, I think that what we have here is just the bill, and I think you made your statement.
I was just asking
Before
if
we
there's
move-
more information, if staff
Right,
has.
before we move on, do we have any more information on Greenbridge that would be helpful at this point? But I don't want to spend much time on this. Is more of a statement here.
I don't have anything right now, sir. We can certainly look into the progress, and if there's been any additional findings from their engineering study, we're probably, I don't know, Mike, are we a sixth through, third through? We'd have to check with them to see how far along we are with the progress. But I'll defer to Mike Cherry to provide any further dialogue.
I was going to ask just if we could get an update on the soil sampling, boring that they'd done. I guess that, to me, was maybe the next big thing that could shed some light on where we're going, that type of thing. So I appreciate Edie at least pulling it out so that we could ask some questions.
I guess I'm confused. We're just talking about paying them for work they did 2 months ago.
Right.
If we wanted to talk about this, there was an option in the public comment section. There's options in the council comment section. This has nothing to do with anything. This is about paying a bill for work that was done 2 months ago.
Looked like Mike was getting ready to say something.
Well, unless he has something to say about this bill, I don't know why
Well,
we're
we
wasting
are-
our time.
Well,
There's
we're
certain
gonna-
ways to
we-
do this.
I don't
You
want to
can put it
belabor
on the
this.
agenda and you can bring it up
I
at the
think
right
that
time.
there's plenty of precedents for making, but I do want to keep moving the meeting, and the statement has been made. If there are no other, Michael, you wanted to say something before we're going to vote here? Go ahead.
I'm good.
All in favor signify with yes.
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 Opposed with no. Consent calendar is passed. Regular business item number 1.
And Mayor, may I ask about I don't know at what point to do this, but I do want to make it public, so I'm not going to do it privately like some of us do. I'd like to have a discussion of this and of our decision with more information put on an agenda very soon, as soon as possible.
We have rules to put
Yeah.
things on the agenda.
Right, and I'm asking whether any of my fellow council members are supportive of that, because if there are 2 of us, then we can
I would
put
say
that on the
there's
agenda.
proper time
Okay.
to do that during
But
regular
let's
business.
not go
You're
back
not
and
running
forth.
the meeting now.
Let's move ahead.
Well, you're
Regular
not even
business.
following the agenda.
So, and I also
I-
need,
No, wait.
I need an example of the
wait.
private
Wait.
discussion that you're referring to.
None of this makes
Let's stay on task here. Regular business item number 1 is a city commitment to Waverly's continued participation in the Main Street Iowa program. So Mr. Tolliver has done a lot of homework, and we appreciate your resolve. So much so, I think we can go directly to a motion, and then we can call you forth as needed. Is there a motion?
I'd like to move Resolution 1658 approving the support and financial commitment from the City of Waverly for the Main Street program in Waverly, Iowa.
Second.
The motion and seconded. Council discussion, and now I'd ask Mr. Tolliver if you'd like to come forward in case there's some questions. You don't have to speak, or Ryan can come forward.
More than happy to answer any questions.
Yes, but it's easier at the mic. So, you again, you can just be there for
Sure.
questions. We're doing council
Absolutely.
discussion, and you'll be, okay, council discussion. May have called you up for nothing, but
I gave you a lot of information, so.
you did, and we appreciate, and obviously it's a rich program, and you've communicated well with us and also through the public, so.
So maybe just,
Go ahead.
for me, when we get to council discussion, I'll provide some input on what we're actually doing to the public that's watching.
This is council discussion.
Oh, okay. Maybe, can you give just or I can do it, maybe a elevator speech on what we're voting on here?
Sure,
This is
absolutely.
a great program, and
Yeah,
I'd rather
definitely.
have it in your words than me messing it up.
Sure. Well, for the past 27 years, Waverly has participated in the Main Street Iowa program, which helps our community have access to funding for revitalization of historic buildings, and that leads to economic development. Every 2 years, Main Street Iowa, along with the Iowa Economic Development Authority, requires not only this council, but our chamber and Main Street board to pass resolutions in support philosophically and financially for the program itself. And so that's why we're here today, to seek your approval and your unanimous vote.
Thank you. Ryan is board chair.
Yes, yeah.
Anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, I've had a unique position this year and privilege, I guess. The only thing I can offer is a lot of times I look back now and almost feel foolish at the things that I took for granted that I think are direct benefits of the Main Street program. I look back and see all the fun that was had at an art walk or Christmas greetings on Main, all the beautiful decorations downtown, the flowers, some of the renovated projects, the Big Six, Crawdaddy Outdoors, to think, and I guess I just assumed that all just happened, but I can tell you it doesn't just happen. This program is a huge resource for us. It may not do some of those things directly, but indirectly it supports all those things. So it's in my position now, I get to see how this works and the immense benefit that Waverly has. There's only 53 communities that participate in this program. You have to be selected into it. We've been part of it for 27 years. And if you look at that list, I know Travis provided that, it's really a who's list and destination towns and cities in Iowa. And I think we want to continue that. So we appreciate your support.
Thanks, Ryan. Other questions from the council?
So there's only 53 communities out of 900 some in Iowa? That's significant. That's a big deal. Yeah. Appreciate everything that you guys do and making everything.
Thank you.
Thank you, David. Any public input before we vote? Roll call vote, please.
Kangas.
Yes.
Scherer.
Yes.
Gade.
Yes.
McKenzie.
Yes.
Waldstein.
Yes.
President
Yes?
Resolution 16-58 is unanimously approved. Congratulations. Regular business item number 2 is to vacate a plat in Rolling Meadows for the purpose of adding an addition to a building. City Administrator, the split was for a second structure that we did, which isn't going to happen, so we return to base 1. Is that right, or how does this work?
It seems to be the case. I think it's a simpler way of doing it. I'm going to let Bill Werger elaborate on that, but I think it's just a better way.
Okay.
Actually, the lot was divided into 2 lots in order to create a zero lot line structure, which was not permitted in a C2 zoning district. So instead of doing that, they're just going to vacate the prior plat, go back to 1 lot, and do a building and have a condoized business structure. So it works the same each way.
Just simple both.
Just vacate it, yep.
Okay. Motion, please.
I will move approval of Resolution 16-59, approving the vacation of the minor subdivision plat that created parcel Z and Lot A of Rolling Meadow Subdivision Phase 2A in the southeast quarter of the southwest quarter of Section 3-91-14, and I hope that makes sense.
Is there a second? Motion second and council discussion. Public input? Roll call vote, please.
Gade.
Yes.
Kangas.
Yes.
Waldstein.
Yes.
President
Yes.
McKenzie.
Yes.
Scherer.
Yes.
Resolution 16-59, unanimously approved. Regular business item number 3 is the final reading to rezone the property just north of McDonald's to allow for a 10-foot front yard setback. This is the final reading. Let's go to a motion.
I'll move the third and final reading of ordinance 1014, or ordinance amending the zoning ordinance of Waverly, Iowa, providing for rezoning of property from single-family residential district R1 and commercial district R2, or C2, sorry, to commercial district C2A, and amending the city future land use plan from government and mixed use to commercial for 2 properties totaling 2.49 acres located on the southeast corner of 4th Street Southwest and Cedar River Parkway in the 300 block of Cedar River Parkway.
Second.
Motion and second. Council discussion. Public input. Roll call vote, please.
McKenzie.
Yes.
Scher.
Yes.
Resincheck.
Yes.
Waldstein.
Yes.
Gade.
Yes.
Kangas.
Yes.
The third and final reading of ordinance 1014, unanimously approved. Regular business item number 4 is our contract for summer sidewalk repairs. A motion, please.
I'll move Resolution 1660, awarding contract for the citywide sidewalk repairs 2016 project to Feldman Concrete of Dyersville, Iowa.
Second.
For a price bid of,
$59,525.
for the record, it's seconded by Wes. Council discussion. Public input. Roll call vote, please.
Waldstein.
Yes.
Scher.
Yes.
Kangas.
Yes.
Resincheck.
Yes.
McKenzie.
Yes.
Gade.
Yes.
Resolution 16-60, unanimously approved. Regular business item number 5 is our final payment for the recent ped ramp construction with a change order. City Administrator, any comments on that?
I think it was well written, that it was a minor change order when you look at it. I'll put it up here again so I'm not quoting something off here. It was about $4,300, and I think it was probably material estimate, I believe, when you use the project and go through it. I'll let Mike elaborate a little more on the change order, though.
Change orders for the final adjustment quantities, and when we each year we look at past years and estimate the amount of curb and gutter, sidewalk, and those types of things per ped ramp. This being in the downtown district area, we ended up with more curb and gutter replacement than previously estimated. So that's the majority of the change order cost is for removing and replacing additional curb and gutter.
Good. Formal motion.
I'll move Resolution 1661, accepting the citywide pedestrian ramp construction as complete and approving change order number 1 for the increased amount of $17,685 for final adjustments, pay request for $11,975.03, and final pay request in the amount of $4,346.25 to Feldman Concrete of Dyersville, Iowa.
Second, please.
Second.
Motion second. Council discussion.
So, Mike, you're saying that the 17,000 is also the result of quantity, or just the 4,000? There's an increased amount of 17,685 and an increased amount of 4,300.
That's the final payment, is the $4,300.
Okay. Oh, sorry, I read that wrong. Okay. So I see. Okay.
Thank you. Other council discussion? Public input? Roll call vote, please.
Scher.
Yes.
Gade.
Yes.
Kangas.
Yes.
Resincheck.
Yes.
Waldstein.
Yes.
McKenzie.
Yes.
Resolution 16-61, unanimously approved. Regular business item number 6 is to accept Omni Development's first and second editions improvements, public infrastructure, providing sewer mains, streets, water mains, and detention basin. City Administrator, is the city happy?
Yes, we are. The subdivision is completed from the design aspect. Lots are selling, lots are moving. I think 8 permits were pulled off the bat, so it's moving very well. So we are happy with it.
Very good. Motion, please.
I will move Resolution 16-62, accepting the public infrastructure for Omni Development First Edition, Vista Circle Private Street, and Omni Development Second Edition, First Street Southeast, approving the release of the performance guarantee as identified in the standby letter of credit and approving First National Bank standby letter of credit for Omni Development, LLC and or Twin B LLC for the construction of the sidewalk trail correction.
Second, please.
Second.
Motion seconded. Council discussion.
Just curious why Vista Circle is a private drive versus a city street?
It's a cul-de-sac that's longer than we normally do for a city street, and they wanted to keep it as a private street. We've done this in various places within the city, and I think it functions well for that purpose.
And it also allows them to have different setbacks and develop their drive themselves. If you familiar with Johnny Cake Edition off of 12th Street Northwest, sometimes it is actually beneficial from our point of view to have some of these developed with like a private drive in lieu of a public street. And this is one of those situations. I think it worked out. We view it as working out favorably for the city, as well as I think the developer views it favorably as well.
So does that mean that snow removal, for example, will be done privately?
That's correct. There is public water and sewer that comes through, and there are easements reserved for that. But as far as developing, maintaining the drive, that will be up to the developer, and they will prepare a homeowners association. Is that correct terminology for the maintenance and upkeep of that?
I just am curious about long-term arrangements like that. I know one citizen several months ago contacted me about what she described as a private street over by on the way to Prairie Lakes. Yeah, I forget the name of it, but you go off to the left. If you're heading south, you go east.
Oakwood Circle and Oak Ridge Circle, right?
Yeah. And she maintained that there had been enough residential turnover there, and yes, there are the covenants and all of that, but that not necessarily all of the citizens over the long haul are happy with that arrangement and wish that it were a public street. So I'm just curious, how is that just, do those kinds of things change over time in terms of people's satisfaction with them, or
Sounds like it.
Okay. Okay.
Usually at the point where they're faced with some significant repair costs, that's when they come back to the city and want us to.
And what normally happens then?
We remind them that no, it's a private street.
Okay.
But in those cases, they have their own boards that they appoint people to as presidents and secretaries, and so if they want to vote out of something like that, they have the option to do that. Or if they're not happy with how their private drive or private condo association is being handled, they have ways to do that. They have their own council per se. So.
When we look at like this situation here, we want to make sure that, to some degree, it does not look like a public street. That through the entrance as well as the rest of it, that it, right from the entrance in, it says this is a private drive servicing several homes.
But that's probably a little bit the confusing thing. I mean, I wonder how many people know that the street that I just mentioned and the other one that runs parallel to it, I believe, how many people know that that's not a public street? It's not obvious at all. Condo association for, Prairie Links or whatever
Circle,
that's
right.
called. That's all different. Or if you have a building where there are condos, multi-unit building, but this looks like a street.
Those do. But as you mentioned, you look at like Augusta Circle, when you pull into that condo association with like 28 individual housing units, it does not look like a city street.
Right.
That's our preference, is that this be developed in such a way that it looks similar to that, where people aren't going to confuse it with a public street.
Yeah.
The key is, though, the homeowners always know, because when you purchase the home, you have to also sign the condo association and you pay fees, and so you always know when you go in to purchase something that you're on a private street, that you have dues to pay and things like that. So.
Very good. More discussion? Public input? Roll call vote, please.
Gade,
Yes.
Scher,
Yes.
Angus,
Yes.
Rosencheck,
Yes.
Waldstein,
Yes.
McKenzie.
Yes.
Resolution 16-62, unanimously approved. Regular business item number 7 is the purchase of a Henderson Mark III truck box for the Park Division. City Administrator, for the public, this is over budget, or how does this work exactly?
No, it's not over budget. The original truck chassis was about $400. They had the remaining funds from capital improvement fund, I believe, but the box and plow fittings is coming from the capital improvement fund to equip the chassis that we bought, because
Otherwise, it's just a
it's just a
base
truck running
there
around with
without
nothing on it, and that doesn't do us a
No,
lot of
okay.
good. So
Got it.
it just looked weird driving like that. So this will make it look better.
Save
other
the Park
trucks.
District embarrassment. Okay, motion, please.
Take a lot more loads, too.
Well, it is.
Can we make sure the motion states Don's Truck Sales of Fairbank, Iowa?
It's all been.
It's on there.
I think Carla is.
It's all been
City
changed.
clerk has
Okay.
already taken
Very good.
care of
Thank you.
Yes.
Just for you, Tab, I'll approve the purchase of an installation of a Henderson Mark III truck box for the Parks Division from Don's Truck Sales of Fairbank, Iowa, for $17,810, which includes an option of adding a fitting to mount a blade.
Second, please.
Second.
Council discussion. Public input. All in favor, signify with yes.
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 Opposed with no. It's on its way. Regular business item number 8 is to establish disposal policy for non-trade-in property. Again, for the public and maybe for the sake of time, a quick summary on this one, City Administrator.
Yes, sir. We had a discussion with council at a prior meeting of the need to develop a policy that would allow us to dispose of city objects same as we would purchase them. And so upon looking at it, we kind of reversed the process so that the same way we purchase them would be the same way we would dispose of them, with certain thresholds that would allow certain responsibilities to occur before having to bring it to council itself, being a sizable disposal item, which seldom happens. Most of the time, things are traded in. We don't usually have a standalone, unless it's a unique piece of equipment that we may need to sell in a different manner. But that was the premise of what was written and is before you, is that policy to allow the authority to remove items from inventory, city stock, and how it would be done, what parameters are set. So it's a reversal of the purchasing policy as was kind of described in an earlier meeting.
Sounds good. Motion, please.
I'd move resolution 1663, approving the policy for sale or disposal of non-real estate city property.
Second.
Motion second, and council discussion.
Just for clarification, Mr. Mayor, you referred to this as non-trade-in property. I think you meant non-real estate, just for folks who are listening.
Thank you. Public input. Roll call vote.
Rosencheck,
Yes?
Scher,
Yes.
McKenzie,
Yes.
Gade,
Yes.
Waldstein,
Yes.
Angus.
Yes.
Resolution 16-63 is unanimously approved. Regular business item number 9 is to tweak the June 27th wording of the local option sales and service tax for the November ballot. City Administrator, quick briefing on this one as well.
Sure, as quick as I can make it. When we were excited to get the language approved at last meeting, we did not dig deep enough, which I will take responsibility for that, to realize that the language we had set would not allow us to pay the last 2 years of the bonds for the fire station, since that is different language. So we called everybody that can spell lost tax that we could think of, from Department of Revenue, Department of Management, to the bond attorneys, and they all came up with the slight tweaking of verbiage, adding 2 words to say public safety capital projects allows those to be paid then going forward. And that's straight from Mr. Neeson from the Department of Management or Revenue?
Ted Nellison from Department of Management.
Revenue, okay. So that's the simplest form we could come up with to do it, to allow that to happen. And obviously, council still approves everything that would come from local option sales tax, but that was the simplest way, other than writing out specifically fiscal year of each bond and fire station, it allowed it to occur in their eyes, and that was the language they gave us to recommend. So that's what we're here today, to allow for the final 2 payments of the fire station bonds to be paid, which I was reminded by bond counsel, legally you have to pay those, and so find a way to get it done. And this was the simplest way to, quote, get that done from bond counsel.
Okay, let's do discussion after a motion. Second motion, please.
I'd move approving the amendment of language approved by council on June 27, 2016, to be used on the proposition for imposing a local option sales and service tax election on November 8th, 2016.
Second, please.
Second.
Motion second. Council discussion.
I voted against this the first time because I thought it was too generic. So I still kind of hold that view, but nothing against the fire station or anything. I know we have to pay that, so.
Yeah, we don't have a choice. It's still very generic.
Yep, that's in the one we have now, so that's fine.
Yeah, thanks for catching the, gotta pay for this.
Yeah, it was caught by a lot of people, unfortunately. Fortunately, I mean, it was caught by a lot of people. And, yeah, it was good to catch that.
Okay, super. Public? Go ahead.
Again, maybe for my clarification, once this is approved, it null and voids the first one. They don't run, the first one doesn't expire, then this one start up.
That was kind of part of the reason we had the issue in the first place. We thought it would expire, then go into the new language, so we would have been covered for the bonds. That does not happen. It overlaps and takes this point as it's done, so it would be including those first or final 2 years of payment. So that's why it kind of went that way, and then we were reminded that doesn't happen exactly like that. The one thing I will say is when you talk to all the different bodies that are involved in this, they all have different opinions on it. It is a very, very gray policy that was written a long time ago poorly, and I can say that. If the state wants to come by, I'll tell them it's poorly written. It is not clear. And so oftentimes if bond attorneys have questions, they'll be asked back, what do you think? So it's not a very definite you will, you won't. It is a lot of gray area to be looked at, and we just want to make sure we were covered on all aspects so it was not questioned some other place that wasn't correct. So they've all sort of signed off on it. This should do it. And I guess it'll be up to the voters to see if they want to continue it. So
That was the one thing they agreed on.
yeah, that's
It
the
was
only thing
poorly
they agreed
written.
on. It's very gray.
This one's important. No question. Other discussion? Public comment? All in favor, signify with yes.
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 Opposed, no.
No.
Regular business item number 10 needs a motion.
Move resolution 1664, proposing that the question for imposition of a local option sales tax, sales and service tax of not to exceed 1% be submitted to a qualified electorals of the city of Waverly at the November 8th, 2016 general election.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Council discussion? Public input?
Just puts it on
Go
the
ahead.
ballot on the backside. Ballot over.
We tried for front page above the fold, and they said no. It's going on the back. So
It'll be an interesting election. Thank you very much. Pro Tem. Roll call vote, please.
Waldstein.
Yes.
Resnick. McKenzie.
Yes.
Scherer.
Yes.
Angus.
Yes.
Gade.
Yes.
Resolution 16-64 is unanimously approved. I'd like to appoint Glenn Fenneman to the Historic Preservation Commission. Is there a motion?
Move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor signify with yes.
Yes.
Opposed with no. Welcome, Glenn. Bremer Waverly Law Enforcement Board minutes have been received. Any comments on these? Hearing none. Officially received. Staff comments.
I have none, sir, unless staff has any they'd like to add.
City Council comments. Let's.
Engineer Cherry, if you
Yes.
would, sir.
Sure. 16th Street, southwest by the high school. Paving was done last week. They're doing fixture adjustments of the manholes and water valves today, and by the end of the week, or possibly even Thursday, should be open to the public. So that's good news. I also heard from Wartburg today that had it not been for the rain yesterday, they would have been paving the patch on Fifth Avenue by Clinton Hall where they installed new water and sewer lines into the building. So I'm hopeful that by the end of the week that the stretch over there by Wartburg will be open.
Great.
More good news.
Yeah, lots of good news.
Update on the dry run progression and how that's looking?
On schedule to be done by Labor Day.
Which is our target date, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Very
They're
good.
out working Saturday, so.
Were they?
Yeah, they work late Friday, Saturday, so they're definitely working on it.
Update on the soil boring?
For 3rd Street, Casey has told me that they're very close. They're ahead of schedule, actually on schedule, or even ahead of schedule on submitting the preliminary plans to the city. And they will also be submitting the soil report at that time. I don't think I'll have it available for next Monday, the study session, but I can give a bit of an update, I think, for August 1st.
Let's do council comments. Let's go right around the robin. Let's start with Mr. Westgate. Councilman?
Yeah, I just, the last meeting I talked about Heritage Days and how that was coming up and how great it is for our town. And I know that from talking to the committee members that they had one of the greatest Heritage Days ever. So packed both nights. Parade was awesome. Went right through my front yard this time, instead of my backyard, so that was nice. But just went off great again. And so everyone who has a part in that, which I know it's, not just the committee, there's tons of volunteers that do that throughout the whole week or the weekend and planning up through it. And the donations they get, not just from the little bit we give from the city, but they get a lot of donations from other people that are private organizations. So just another great event, and it's our Waverly Days, so
It is.
good that it went off great.
Yep. Very, very good. And it was nice to see piggyback on that with historic preservation doing
Yep,
their
that was great.
all their work, and that's part of the heritage, and it just had a momentum. We thank everybody in that committee. Dan?
Just to verify, Fifth Avenue should be opened up for the firefighters parade the weekend after Labor Day.
Fifth Avenue, yes. Yes. By the Dry Run Creek, it should be open by, I think, easily by the second week in August. But the section in front of Wartburg between 6th Street and 12th Street, hopefully by the end of this week.
They were just concerned about having to reroute the parade route like Heritage Days did, so I said I would check.
Mr. Mike?
I just want folks to be aware of the long reach that Waverly City Council has with its broadcast sessions. I got an email from my daughter tonight from Columbus, Ohio, and she informed me that she was actually giving up watching the Republican National Convention in order to see what's going on at Waverly, Iowa City Council. She has a vested interest, but I thought that was rather impressive.
Thank you. Mike? Pro Temp? Mr. David?
I was stunned by Mike's comments, so I have none.
Okay. Councilman Edel?
I just want to add my thanks for Heritage Days, too. I mean, it was a wonderful event, heard many positive comments, and thanks to all the formal and informal folks who make that happen.
I think we can feel good about ourselves and feel a lot of momentum, and whatever the future brings, may we stand tall and keep marching forward. I think at this time we'll just take a recess of 5 minutes. Can we do we must?
Couple of more agenda items here. You want to do any comments?
You've got mayor comments.
That was mayor comments. It was.
Okay, then we need
It
to
was.
vote
It
on
was
the
not
consent
impressive,
agenda.
but it was.
To
It was it.
adjourn for 5 minutes to allow the assembled groups to meet in the Civic Center for continuation of the joint session.
Do we adjourn or recess?
Second.
Adjourn? Okay, it's a motion, let's just adjourn for 5
It says
seconds, but it's
adjourn.
not, and then we'll adjourn again officially at the end. For the public, we will be meeting in session with the Economic Development Commission, and we'll be meeting in the Civic Center in order to enable that. What? Yes, I will. This is the preface to the vote. And so, all in favor of 5-minute recess adjournment? Signify with yes.
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 Okay.